Okay, in this module, we're going to be going through your libraries, how to create libraries, how to export libraries, how to share libraries, how to get libraries to the system overview, anything and everything we can do with the libraries, we're going to be covering in this module. So the first thing is that we've got to get the libraries to show on the system overview page. We have gone through this before, but as you can see, I have the libraries here on the system overview page. If I go ahead and click on that, it should open up the libraries page, and then here are all of the libraries. I can go ahead and click on begin analysis and we can run the analysis. But before we get the libraries to the system overview, we need to be able to create them and import them. So here we have the libraries option. As you can see, if you look in the top, we have two yellow buttons. We have the created option and then we have the shared option. One of the great benefits about the libraries is the ability where you can create libraries and then you can share those libraries with other Genius practitioners as well. So as you can see, if I scroll down, we have all the libraries here. So that's the created. If somebody shares a library with you, it's going to be located under the shared option, and obviously the created option are the libraries that you create yourself. If we have a look down on the bottom, we have your import libraries, we have export libraries, we have a master branch, and then we have add to client. So if you want to add specific libraries to your client, you just click on add to client, and then you can select any number of the libraries, and when you click OK, it will take these libraries that you've selected and then put them in the system overview so you can access the libraries and actually do a scan accordingly. So right now what we're going to do is we are going to learn how to create a custom library. So in the top right hand corner we've got a plus sign, and go ahead and click on that, and then it's going to ask you for the name for this library. So we're going to call this library Ryan's Special Library, and a quick little description which is completely optional. Ryan's Awesome Library. Okay, there we go. Click on return, and I'm going to click on save. So I've now created a library name, in other words a category name. Now the next thing is that we actually want to add individual items to this library, right? So Ryan's Special Library, I'm going to go ahead and click on add items to the library, and now I need to give my first item a name. So if it's a herb, or if it's a supplement, if it's an emotion, if it's a virus, anything along those lines, this is where you would give it a name. So I'm just going to call it Ryan's Library and then item number 1. Okay. Now what is important is you have 3 different ways or 3 different options upon which you can actually import the frequencies for this specific item. So here we're looking at Ryan Library 1, right? We have a frequency input option, we have an imprinting test plate option, and then we have the archetype encoding option. So here you can select any option to create a library. So typically in the instance of a frequency input, here is if you know the specific frequencies that you wish to use, you would leave it at the frequency input and you would follow these instructions and you would input specific frequencies. If you have a test plate, then you would place the item, the supplement, on the test plate, which is connected to the Genius, and you would select the imprinting test plate option. The archetype encoding process is if you do not have the physical supplement, you do not know the specific frequencies, in that instance you would use the archetype encoding process. And as I mentioned before, the archetype encoding process, whatever you type in, we are going to take that text, run it through a mathematical program, and convert that text to an energetic stimuli. In fact, we create a series of different frequencies or energetic stimuli for any item that you create. So as an example, we're going to do one of each here. We're going to do the frequency input first. So we've created Ryan's library 1, so frequency input. So what it says here, there's a space between each frequency, and then you can create a sweep as well. So if I leave it over here and I enter 45, that means it's going to generate a sine wave frequency of 45. Then I'm going to do a comma, space, 678.89. Then it's going to generate a frequency of 678.89 Hertz. This Genius is accurate up to 2 decimal hertz. Make another comma, space, 54321. It's now going to generate another frequency for, in fact that will not work, for 5,432 Hertz. Okay. Now what we want to do is we want to run a sweep. In other words, I want to run a series of frequencies from 678 Hertz frequency to, got to figure out where my dash is, to 67 to 88. Okay. What this is telling me now is that I want to do a frequency sweep from 67 Hertz to 88 Hertz. Now, on the right hand corner, we've got 10 seconds. Let's say I want to do this for 90 seconds. Click on return, click on save. So we've created our first frequency box, right? Let's just go back to that. Oh, I've lost that. Lucky we have a search function here. Ryan's special library. Let's go back into Ryan's library, and as you can see, we've created one item. Now let's say I want to create another item, or I want to create another frequency input. So in other words, what this is telling us right now, if you look at this, is it's going to be, the total time duration is going to be 90 seconds, and it's going to generate a frequency of 45 Hertz, then 678.89, then 5432 Hertz, and then a sweep from 67 to 88. The time to complete all of this, we have specified it for 90 seconds. So now what I can do is, let's say I wanted to duplicate it. I can duplicate it, and then I can change this to maybe 35 seconds, and maybe I don't want the sweep, and I can update. So as you can see, by having the frequency input, it really does allow us to be really creative in terms of the time and the duration and the length of the actual session that we want to do with the actual library. So you can create as many different custom boxes as you wish.